What's up, Ohio? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Broulis Beat Report. I am your host, Nick Broulis. This edition of the Broulis Beat Report is brought to you by Cafe 80s. If you enjoy 80s music, you will definitely want to check out a Cafe 80s show. As a matter of fact, this Saturday, if you're in the Canton or surroundings area, you will want to head out to Nathan's Patio this Saturday and be there by around 8:45, 9 o'clock, because sound check starts at 9 and then the actual show starts at 9:30. There's 3 ways to follow Cafe 80s. The first being you can find them on Facebook. Just type in the Cafe 80s and like their fan page. You can also download that Bands in Town app. And then you can just get email alerts, and that way you can get email alerts when they are in an area close to you. Then you can also go to thecafe80s.net. That's their actual official Cafe 80s website. You can look at playlists, some former shows, videos, stuff like that. It's actually a pretty good website. So check out Cafe 80s. You will enjoy a show. I guarantee you that. Well, it is week 13 of the NFL season, and it's Super Saturday if you're a college football fan. You got the championship games. Well, let's start out with college football, shall we? And we're going to start out with the MAC championship. Akron versus Toledo at Ford Field in Detroit. I'm actually going to take Toledo. I watched both teams a couple of times, and I came away with the fact that I just think Toledo is an overall better team. Next, going to the Big 12, number 11, TCU is going to try to win over number 3, Oklahoma. And they already got beat once by Oklahoma. And if you're an Ohio State fan, you actually want Oklahoma to win this game, because if they lose, doesn't bode well for the Buckeyes. Next up is the SEC championship game. Let me say this. How weird does it look on paper that Alabama's not even in the game? How weird is this? You got number 6 Georgia versus number 2 Auburn. I am going to take number 2 Auburn. I think both teams are very close in terms of comparisons, in terms of overall how good they are. But I'm going to take Auburn in this game. Next up, you have the ACC championship game. Number 7 Miami versus number 1 Clemson. Here's my shocker for you. I actually think the defense for Miami is going to get to Clemson. Therefore, I am going to take the Hurricanes to win the ACC. Then, finally, it is the Big Ten championship game, pitting number 8, Ohio State, versus number 4, Wisconsin, at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Here's the thing. Ohio State, you just don't quite know which team is going to show up. And if JT Barrett has a bad game, most of the time Ohio State doesn't do too well. He's coming off of a surgery. He's going to start, Urban Meyer said. And here's the other thing. Wisconsin. They haven't played the toughest schedule on earth. Well, something's got to give. I am going to take Ohio State to win the Big Ten championship this year. And then the question when it comes to the committee is, do you put a 2-loss Ohio State team in if one of those teams in the top 4 lose their championship game? You don't know. It's a big question. So I can tell you this right now. The next selection committee show is going to be awfully interesting. Excuse me. Now, let's head to the NFL. This is week 13. There are no teams on a bye. Alright? Now, before I go down my predictions, let's take a look at the AFC and the NFC picture. In the first seed in the AFC, you have Pittsburgh at 9-2, followed by New England, which is in the second seed, at 9-2 as well. Those teams actually play each other in, I think, a week or two. I can't remember off the top of my head. Then in the third spot, you have Tennessee at 7-4, followed by number 4. The AFC West leading Kansas City Chiefs are at 6-5. Now here are your 2 wild card teams as of right now. In the number 5 seed, Jacksonville is at 7-4, followed by Baltimore in the 6th seed at 6-5. And here are the following 4 teams that are still in the hunt for the AFC. Buffalo at 6-5, Cincinnati at 5-6, the Los Angeles Chargers at 5-6, and Oakland, who is also at 5-6. Let's move over to the NFC, where 10-1 Philadelphia is in the 1st seed, followed by the 2nd seeded Minnesota Vikings at 9-2. Then you have the Rams in the 3rd seed at 8-3, followed by the Saints, who are leading the NFC South currently in the 4th seed at 8-3. Then you have your 5th seeded and first wildcard team, Carolina at 8-3. Excuse me, followed by the number 6 seeded Atlanta Falcons at 7-4. And the following teams are still in the hunt. Seattle at 7-4, Detroit at 6-5, followed by Green Bay at 5-6. That was a crucial loss for them if you think about it. In that game winner in which Pittsburgh scored the field goal to win the game last week. And then you have Dallas, who I don't really think is going anywhere, but they're in the 10th seed at 5-6, so they're still mathematically, record-wise, still in it. Now, let's start out with these predictions, shall we? Thursday Night Football has the 9-2 Washington Redskins traveling to Big D to take on the 5-6 Cowboys. I'm taking Washington in this game. Then you have the Sunday slate games. Minnesota travels to Atlanta. I'm going to take the Falcons. The Texans, who are at 4-7, are headed to the Titans. I'm taking Tennessee. Chiefs at the New York Jets. I am going to take the New York Jets, believe it or not. Yes, I'm going to take the Jets. Next up, Broncos at 3-8 at the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to take the Dolphins. Colts are at 3-8 are at Jacksonville. I'm going to take Jacksonville. In a battle of the Bays, you have the Buccaneers and the Packers. I'm actually going to take Tampa Bay in this one. Lions at the Ravens. Only because they are at home am I going to take the Ravens. Patriots at the Bills. I'm going to take New England. 49ers at the Bears. Ugh. I'm actually going to take the San Francisco 49ers just due to the fact that Garoppolo is starting this game. Next up, Giants at the Raiders. I'm going to take Oakland in this one. I think they're going to win this for 2 reasons. A, they're at home. Actually, no, make that 3. Number 2, they are still in the hunt. And number 3, why on earth is New York benching Eli Manning for Geno Smith of all people? My gosh. His resume speaks for itself. Then you have the Panthers traveling to New Orleans in battle of the NFC South. Both teams are at 8-3. And I'm going to take the Saints. Then you have the Rams traveling to Arizona to battle the Cardinals. And I'm going to take the Rams in this matchup. Then you have the Sunday Night Football game featuring the 10-1 red-hot Philadelphia Eagles against the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm actually going to take the Seattle Seahawks in this matchup. I think the Eagles are going to suffer their second loss of the season. Then, Monday Night Football has a battle of the AFC North between the Steelers and the Bengals. This, for all intents and purposes, is going to be a home game for the Steelers because I think there's going to be more Pittsburgh fans there than there are Bengals fans. And I am going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game and win it handily. I think this game is going to be over by no later than the third quarter, if you ask me. Then finally you have the local game. That brings us to the Cleveland Browns, who are at 0-11. Only winnless team in the league. Traveling to the West Coast to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, here are some factors, okay? First off, most fans should remember, and all Browns fans should remember this. Guess who was the last team the Browns won against? Christmas Eve last year against the then San Diego Chargers. You remember, I think his name was Josh Lambo, missed that field goal as time expired. 20-17 was the final score. So now the Browns head out to LA. You think Phillip Rivers is going to be a little motivated to pass for around 500 yards in this game? And then there is the return of good old Josh Gordon. I've heard people think that he's going to come out and light the world on fire. I've heard some people say he might get around 50 yards receiving. I'm not expecting a lot out of Josh Gordon, to be honest with you. I am really not. Game speed is completely different from practice, all that other stuff, and it's been since I think 2014, 2015, excuse me, since he's played a game. Ouch. That's a long time by NFL standards. So, with all that being said, I am definitely taking the Los Angeles Chargers to get another win, and the Browns are going to fall to 0-12. Well, before I end the show, I wanted to let everybody know that I have changed my Twitter name. So, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's simply Broulis Report. B as in boy, R-O-U-L-I-S, Report. It's that simple. Don't forget to like my fan page on Facebook, The Broulis Beat Report. There, I post some interesting things on there. And don't forget to check out the latest articles on Phantom.com as well. Well, that does it for this edition of the Broulis Beat Report. My name is Nick Broulis, and until next time, thanks for watching, everybody.